everyone, and welcome. I am so excited today. I have my fabulous friend, Miss Minette Riordan, here with me. Hey, Minette, yay! So welcome. This is the Tonya Hofmann fabulous TV show, and I am so glad that you're here with me today. We have got so much to cover. So first of all, I wanted to welcome you back to our show. Make sure you go and check us out. We've got Public Speakers with an S, association.com. Check out my website, get involved, become a next big speaker, make a real impact on the world, right? And with, Minette here with us, you could be in Minette's spot, waving at her just like everyone else is waving at her right now. So, be involved and change lives. And that's really what it's all about. And it's really about marketing. Marketing is so incredibly important to you and your business and really connecting with so many people. And there's nothing more effective than speaking. And then there's some other things that Minette's going to talk to us about today that's going to give you even more insight into the marketing realm. Because marketing is usually one of those things. Marketing and sales is usually those areas that people are like, I don't know what to do. So Minette, everyone, this is the fabulous Miss Minette Riordan. She has been a force in my life forever. She's run her own networking organizations. She's had a huge, she's had a huge magazine and newspaper in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then she followed her dream out to California, and now she lives in a beautiful area that she's enjoying. And now I miss her. So, Minette,
you just need to come visit.
I know.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I know. So you need to let me know when you're in LA so I can come down and connect with you. It's pretty hard to get me out of Santa Barbara sometimes.
Right.
It's so beautiful here. Yeah, darn. Poor baby. Yeah, I really do live in paradise. They call Santa Barbara the American Riviera. And it really does feel like that. Yes,
and you
it's
got
really
fishies
beautiful
in the
here.
background. I love it.
I know, my little fishies and then my little son, and there's my Doc, the purple cat there.
Nice, nice. So tell us about this inner marketing genius idea that you have.
Yeah, so, it's kind of an idea I've been chewing on for a while. As you know, I've been working in the field of marketing and sales for almost 15 years. It's hard to believe. It's been that long. It's hard to believe. It's probably been 7-8 years since I met you the first time.
I know.
It's amazing how time flies. It's been over 2 years since I moved to Santa Barbara already. Time is flying. And as I moved out of the publishing industry and into coaching people on how to get comfortable with marketing and sales, understand how to put together a marketing plan that works for them, I really realized that all of us, that we really do have our own unique inner marketing genius. And it's kind of the classic, you sit in a room full of 100 people and 50% of them would die rather than be up on stage, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, just because speaking is absolutely one of the most fabulous ways to grow your business, I totally agree with Tonya. You definitely should be speaking. It's not going to work for everybody. It does work for every business, but it's not going to work for every person. And so I really started playing this summer, Tonya, with all these different things that my clients were saying, the different fears that they were having around marketing, and trying to hone in on helping people distinguish what aspects of marketing are they really good at, and yet encouraging and sort of gently nudging them. I just want to say, and I know you will agree with this, people cannot build their business through social media alone, sitting home hiding behind their computers.
High five. Poof, poof.
So it's important to really understand who you are, what your unique brilliance is, what the specific problems that you solve for your clients are. It still blows me away, Tonya, and you and I probably had this conversation 50 times about how many people don't know who their ideal client is, And if you don't know who your ideal anybody with hair,
anyone who needs to be healthy.
Yes. It's just each of us has a specific set of problems that we're absolutely brilliant at solving for people. And so that's where I'm kind of going with this inner marketing genius, is helping people understand what problems are you brilliant at solving? Who is your client? Once you know those two things, it becomes a lot easier and way less scary to create a marketing plan and understand exactly where to go hang out to find your clients. I think that's the biggest challenge that people experience, is just not even knowing where to go look for their ideal market.
Exactly. From the get-go, I looked around and said, okay, my target market is entrepreneurs and people who want to be an entrepreneur, and even some salespeople. And I was like, well, where do they hang out like all the time? Starbucks, right? Coffee shops. Where do I hang out? Coffee shops and Starbucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a hard concept for people to figure that out,
It is, but even, deeper than that, right? It's like entrepreneurs, the ones that are, doing well and successful are networking. They're going to live trainings and workshops. I just spent the last weekend in Los Angeles at a fabulous 3-day live event. And I went because I thought, the content sounds really interesting, but I went primarily to meet people, to look for potential clients, not to try to, at all impinge on the, territory of the people who were doing the presentation there. But what I did was very different than what they did. And I was there to expand my network. And that is so invaluable, to just get out into the world and meet people. And then, I followed up by connecting with them on social media. It's easy for Tonya and I both to sit here and say this because we're totally geeky and we do love networking. We love speaking and we love being up in front of people.
Used to, I would be like, what? I have to go talk to
people?
Yeah.
The first time I had to stand up in front of a Chamber of Commerce meeting and there were like 100 people in the room and they didn't tell me in advance. I didn't know what a 30-second commercial was. I didn't know how to give one. I turned the color of my dress. It was, my knees were shaking. it was not fun. But you know what? After a couple of years, you get good at it. You get used to it. You get comfortable. And Tonya, I know I'm way more comfortable in the front of the room than sitting in the audience usually, right? Because then you're in control of the situation. And I found that for a lot of introverts that are really nervous about speaking, there's comfort in holding that position of expertise from the front of the room. It's way more comfortable to be the teacher sometimes than to be the wallflower or trying to fit in or trying to make connections. So I really encourage people that are introverted but have incredible talents and genius to understand where in the world they can fit in. So that's part of that inner marketing genius, is discovering, what are your talents and what's the best marketing tactics and tools for really sharing that genius with the world. And it's usually not sitting behind your computer at home sending out social media, Facebook posts, tweets.
Right.
It's connecting with people face to face.
I think, for me too, going to conferences, it was one of the best ways to start hanging around people that have the same kind of mindset. Don't you find that? Mm-hmm. And, you start building friendships and recognizing people that are, if you're just starting out, that are a lot more advanced than you, and then even people that need your help. So you have this whole environment of people that are willing to help you and that you're willing to help others. And it's just a very collaborative environment, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't remember who said it, but somebody that said, we are the average of all of the people that we hang out with. And if you really want to grow your business, you need to up-level who you're spending time with.
That's why I up-leveled to you.
You're so sweet. And me to you, I think we hold each other up to our own highest good. It's part of what I love about being a coach, is really being able to see that brilliance in people and really to help them understand how to bring that brilliance to the world in a way that makes money. There are so many heart-centered entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs. They're chasing ideas. They're all over the map, and they haven't figured out how to monetize their passion. It's doable. It's possible. Tonya and I are both living proof of that. Who knew 15 years ago that we'd be doing what we're doing? And we're both moms. We're both wives, and we're gallivanting around the country and doing and making it happen, and it's, I think because we really do understand our own value and our own willingness to ask for what we want. And we've built really great support teams and support systems around us. So understanding your inner marketing genius is also in part understanding what you're not good at and how to build a team around you who can support you in that, how to start outsourcing some of the pieces that are not your talent so that you can really hone in and focus. And I know, Tonya, that entrepreneurs, especially ones that are new in business, they get really freaked out about, oh my gosh, I can't afford to hire somebody. But the whole virtual assistant world has been such an incredible gift to entrepreneurs. It's really easy to get help an hour a week, 2 hours a week. You start small and you build. It's the way to really exponentially grow your business and take it to the next level, is to understand what you're brilliant at and let somebody else take care of the rest so that it gets done well and helps you show up as the expert that you really are.
Absolutely. And that's what I find as a challenge, I think, especially for women, is we want to do it all of ourselves. We can handle it. I don't want to show that people that,
how many hats
I can't
can I
do
wear?
It. Right? I mean, how many kids can I have and juggle with all the other things? So, I have found personally, even for my own story, even this last summer, I had to really take a hard look at myself, my family, and my business, and realize that Tonya can't do it all.
You just now are figuring that out?
I know. It takes me a while. I'm a slow learn. But, my husband had a minor stroke, and he's fine now. But it was scary. And as a woman who's used to everything running a certain way, there was a big speed bump. And I started going, okay, I need to look around for more help. And I did. I started looking at what do I really have to do myself, and what can really somebody else do? And it's been kind of a great eye-opener for me.
And Michael's okay?
Yeah, he's getting there. It never takes as fast as you want it to, but he's a lot better now. And getting back to whatever normal is.
Whatever normal. Yeah, in your world, I know that's, pretty far out there anyway, right?
Exactly, So, and especially as we age, I'm almost hitting 50 soon, it's looking at your life in a new perspective. I mean, don't you feel as you're moving along in age that you start looking at what are the priorities? What do I have set up for my family, myself? Things that you haven't even thought about. And even for marketing terms, if you're down for a week, when Michael was in the hospital and stuff, I was down for a week, but everything was still working because I had my marketing set, and we've got things that are created with fabulous people like yourself.
Yeah, it's so true. In the summers, I tend to work from wherever I am. We usually go off to see grandparents. As you know, I go to Nova Scotia most summers. This summer, we were 3 weeks in Colorado at my mom's house. My husband completed an Ironman triathlon.
Wow.
So it was it was a really big deal. Super proud of him. And I worked from there, but I didn't work as much. And, even though I have a lot of those systems in place, I have an assistant who helps me. I noticed the difference from me not personally being as engaged and as on top of things. And I had this little bit of a dip, and then we came back at the beginning of August, and all of a sudden all my volunteer activities, band, church, right? I'm a typical mom. I've got 2 teenagers, my networking groups. I just took over presidency of the local chapter for the Association of Women in Communications, so all these things all hit at once. And and so I'm giving time to them and still trying to have some downtime and some family time. And it's like, whoa, my business needs my attention and focus. And as soon as I shifted that focus, then the clients start pouring in. But it's, probably one of the most important aspects of helping people understand what marketing really means is that they have to be consistent and persistent. And as much as I teach that, I'm still learning that lesson myself in this business. When I owned a publishing company, I was telling my husband this the other day. My deadlines were very set. Every month I had to get a magazine to print, and the magazine came out and it had to get distributed. And, so the timelines were pre-organized, years ahead of time. And now as a business coach, it's much more fluid, which I love, which I chose. And my challenge is that accountability piece. So, one of the things about really having a really great plan in place is that when you do get off track, you go right back to the plan. It's like it's like being on a diet or an exercise program. Marketing is a habit. It really is about creating the habit of taking those consistent and persistent actions to follow up with people. And I think that we do have to find that balance, because I'm not willing to sacrifice family or kids or some of my volunteer activities. My business has to be a match for my lifestyle. And I think if I've become really passionate about anything after the stressful, 11 years of owning a print magazine and doing all the expos that was very deadline driven, I know I don't want that, but how do I, as a solopreneur, manufacture those deadlines and stick to them? So accountability and understanding what motivates you are two big parts, I think, of that inner marketing genius. Just understanding, what is your passion? What's your big why? We all have a mission, a vision that we want to bring to the world. And you have to be clear about that. Otherwise, it loses meaning. And then, all those tasks that should get done that actually are your money-making tasks tend to fall to the bottom of your list. So
and I know
really
that
helping
for a
women.
lot of people too, they find that I was just talking to one of my good friends the other day, and he markets, and then he gets all this business, and then he stops marketing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
and then then those clients go away and he has no business. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to most people is we get so busy that we forget that there's certain things that we have to continue to do to keep that business coming, and it's a challenge.
But the cool thing, it is. And the cool thing is that with today's internet savvy world, there's a significant part of your marketing that can be easily automated. And, I think that, especially creative entrepreneurs, I tend to work with a lot of creative entrepreneurs, graphic designers, writers, consultants, speakers that, tend to get on the money roller coaster, right? And they tend to also very easily get overwhelmed by systems and by technology. They just want to do their craft. They just want to go make stuff, write stuff, speak, do their thing. And the truth is that, and especially, something as simple as WordPress changes lives for small business owners. When you learn how to implement a few really simple structures and systems in your business, it frees you, right? Systems and structures are freedom. And it seems like an oxymoron that you would think, structure creates freedom. But it's true. Once you have those systems in place, right? So one, it manufactures deadlines for you when you're committed to your systems. And so it gives you accountability, and having a VA gives you accountability as well. So I think, helping people understand, again, the pieces they're good at, the pieces they need to outsource, and understand how to use systems so they have more freedom to do the work that they love is where I see marketing and sales going in the future.
Well, that's what I tell people all the time is when I had retail stores, I owned 2 retail stores in Houston for 7 years. And this was back in the 90s. And to try to market yourself was very cumbersome. It was yellow pages. It was newspapers. And there wasn't a lot of other options. Now, today, and it was very expensive options. I did some radio. It was like $1,500 for like a little, 1 minute clip. And now we have the internet has opened up for small businesses an arena of opportunities for us to market ourselves. So it's really exciting, the exploration that we can see.
It is exciting, but I also understand that for entrepreneurs, it's completely overwhelming, right? Because there are so many options. It was actually easier when you knew you could there was radio, television, and print. Those were pretty much, and networking. Those were really your options. And so really understanding it comes right back to who's your ideal client and understanding where they're hanging out, right? Not all of our ideal clients are hanging out on one social media platform, but most of them are. Like if you're serving the 20-something population, really they're not on Facebook so much anymore. They're hanging out on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. My daughter's
Who's
19.
on Twitter?
She thinks I'm so square by being on Facebook. No one uses Facebook anymore, Mom. I'm like, oh, please.
Yeah. Well, because the demographic for Facebook is you and me, right? That is the average age is that kind of 40 to 55-year-old woman is the primary user and lover of Facebook now, right? Twitter, I think, has a broader demographic. And LinkedIn, I think people really underestimate the value of LinkedIn. I get clients off of LinkedIn all the time, but you have to use it well and use it strategically. I got a new client this week because I posted something on LinkedIn. So it really is about understanding where to go to find your clients and being really clear about the problems you solve for them. I think people think marketing is complicated, but it's really quite simple. You only need to understand 3 things. That's it, 3. Number 1, what's your unique brilliance? Number 2, who's your ideal client? And number 3, what problems you solve for them. And all of your marketing flows so simply from those 3 very simple things. And I think people try to overcomplicate it a lot.
Yes. Well, even if you just, a lot of times people don't stop and look at just numbers, because numbers don't lie, right? And so they are always like, well, I've got to make, $2,500 every month to stay doing what I'm doing. I'm like, well, okay, well, back it up. How many sales does that equal? And then how many people do you have to talk to in order to equal those sales?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm always like, if you want to make an extra, say, $12,000 a year, so if you have a certain amount that you're wanting to increase by, what do you have to do? If your customer is $1,000, if you got a new customer and that person's worth $1,000 a year to you, then if you go out and you do one presentation a month, right? Or even on a virtual event, you do one presentation, you find that one person immediately in 1 hour, and you just do that every single month, there's $12,000. And people think it's like, miraculous or, this confusing. It's really not confusing. It's very simple science. It's very simple mathematics.
It is. At the event this weekend, one of the presenters called it money math, and I love that when you really, and it's really exciting. It's one of the very first steps I do with every client is looking at that money math and saying, well, how many clients do you really need? And for some of them, it might only be 3 new clients a month. Well, you don't need some huge, elaborate, extravagant marketing plan to find 3 new clients. And if you get better at sales, right, then, you get to have fewer sales conversations, learn how to sell from your heart in a way that's impactful and meaningful for you so you don't feel like a used car salesman, get over your fear of sales, and start having really awesome conversations with people. Maybe you only have to have 6 conversations a month to get those 3 clients, or maybe you get it down to where you only have 4 conversations and you convert 3 of them to clients. It really is pretty simple, and I think people do get overwhelmed thinking that they have to be everywhere all the time. And the truth is it's a waste of time, and it minimizes your impact when you spread yourself too thin.
And you have to really, kind of adjust for what's happening around you. And a lot of times people are so focused on themselves, they're not even listening to the person that they're talking to. And so they wonder why they turn everybody off, because it's, my doctors have amazing doctors that can, change your life. And it's all about what they think is important. And they never stop to ask the other person, wait, do you even need any health? Do you have any health issues? And that's always what's frustrating to me when people market and sell, is that they don't even stop to ask the person basic questions.
Yeah, and it's interesting. One of the things I learned this weekend was, instead of asking someone, what do you do? Ask them, what are you looking for next in your business? And that is a curious question. It allows you to be of service to them and say, well, that might be something I can help you with, or, well, it's definitely not something I can help you with, but here's 3 referrals for people that I think could help you with that. So it creates a different sense of reciprocity and connection than the dreaded, what do you do question? So, which people really don't know how to answer effectively anyway, So I think curiosity is really highly underrated, and we forget what it feels like to be that 3-year-old again, and to just think everything is curious and new. And if you can just approach every one of those conversations at a networking event, or people that come up to you after a speaking event, just approach it with a sense of curiosity. Forget about yourself for a minute. They'll get around to you, but be of service first. It creates automatic connection in a very different way that then creates an opportunity and a space for you to say what you do. So I think it's coming, I think it's really, and you and I, this is something else you and I have personally been aggressively working on for 10 years, is teaching people how to network effectively, making networking both fun and impactful, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like the conferences, even my own. So the Public Speakers Association conference is coming up June 14th through the 17th of 2015. So make sure that y'all are all there. But it's about what do you do at an event. So with mine, I had the greatest conversations because people are like, Tonya, I'm a little concerned because you have all these huge breaks in between the speakers, and I'm really here to learn and listen to the speakers. So I'm like, okay, just wait and you'll see. So at the end, those same people came up and they're like, that was brilliant, because I gave enough time in between for people to actually talk. What an idea, is to actually have conversations with people, and what I found too is if you just heard someone speak and they just gave you some great ideas, it's hard to absorb that information because you just heard 4 other people talk. But if you have a conversation about it with someone and you're communicating, you're suddenly take it from, I just need to know this information to, I'm absorbing it and I'm communicating it and I'm actually figuring out what to do with this information. And so I love connecting people after events to say, what did you learn, so that people actually absorb the information and then figure out what to do with it. Okay, I just heard how to do social media. Okay, well, what do I do with it now that I know that information? And so having a conversation with someone is new.
Take a tip from my son. He was so cute. From the time he was about 3, he would learn something and then immediately turn and share it with somebody else. Like we'd be in the car, him and I and my husband driving somewhere. And of course, being a little boy, he was fascinated by mighty machines, right? Any big truck of any kind, anywhere. So, I go, oh, look, Connor, there's, a front loader over there. And he'd immediately turn around and go, Dad, look, there's a front loader, even though Dad was sitting in the front seat right beside me. But, to share that enthusiasm and to share. And now at 15, he still is very much that way. He loves being engaged and sharing what he's learned, right? It's a little harder at 15 to keep them engaged and interested, but he still has that love of teaching, right, and sharing. And, there's something to be said with if you have a gap and a break and you can turn to your neighbor and say, wow, that was fabulous. Here's the one tip I got out of that. What stuck out for you? So, really educating people about what kind of questions to ask as well, So, because I'm so grateful to you for doing that, because those models where it's a 15-minute speaker, just one after another, it's exhausting. Yeah. And, it's like being in a room with 100 people after 5 30-second commercials. You're not hearing what people are saying.
Yeah,
so
it takes
it really
the
is.
mind time to absorb. Even if I'm going to a big conference and they're stacked back to back, I'll skip some of the speakers so that I could just really focus on the one I just heard and then go out and make a plan. Because I think that's what happens to most people is they go home after an event and then they don't implement anything because they're so overwhelmed. And they haven't even thought about how can they actually implement it. And if you do it right then, it has such more of an impact. And hopefully you can come and speak at our conference next year. I would love that.
It's going to be in San Antonio, right?
Yes.
Yes, which is my hometown. So absolutely.
Oh. There you go. Yeah. We'll have to talk about that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, just I know we're probably getting close to the end of our time together. Tonya, if we could just ease people's fear around marketing and sales and just really help you understand, if you're listening to this, that it's pretty easy to simplify marketing and really pick 2 to 3 tactics that work for you and that get you in front of the right people. It really is that simple. The trick is to be committed to your own success and to do them every single day. I think that's the big deal. Whether it's, you spend half an hour, if you spend 30 minutes every single day on your marketing, whether that's looking for speaking opportunities, picking up the phone and calling past clients and asking for referrals, whether that's 30 minutes on Facebook because that's where your peeps are hanging out. It doesn't matter where you're spending the time as long as you're consistently spending time to engage with people every single day, Monday to Friday. Don't be working on the weekends. You need downtime, and your family needs you and your friends need you. I know. I'm preaching to myself. You realize that, right? So
exactly. And you're giving everybody something amazing away, aren't you? Because I'm like, I can't believe what you're about to give them. So what is it?
I am. So I have created there's actually 2 audio sessions and an awesome handbook. Wow. And the audios, it's probably about 3 hours worth of training on specifically how to discover your inner marketing genius. And then underneath that, really discovering what your relationship with money is, because I am finding with my coaching clients that we can't even get to marketing until we've really cleared up your beliefs about money and gotten you over your fear of asking for money and charging what you're worth. So it really is a deep dive, right? It's not really a deep dive. I would say it's kind of a surface dive into understanding your relationship with money, and then understanding how your particular marketing genius can help you get new leverage and help you decide exactly what marketing tactics you should be doing and which ones you should be finding partners and collaborators to help you with. So it's super, super fun and super simple to download and take advantage of.
So how do they get hold of that?
Super easy. They just go to my website, which is MinetteRiordan.com. And Tonya, can they see my name at the top of the website, or should I spell it for them?
They should be able to see that. So, and if not, you'll be able to go to the Tonya Hofmann website, and they'll be up there also.
Great. Awesome. So it's MinetteRiordan.com/inner-marketing-genius. Inner marketing genius with hyphens. Inner-marketing-genius. Super simple. And they can get instant access to all of those. Full disclosure, you will also get added to my wonderful e-zine called The Artful Marketer that goes out once a week on Wednesdays, that always has some really valuable article and fun tips and upcoming events that I'm participating in as well.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm so excited that you were on today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. And it's really fun to see your face. You know, we've had some phone calls, but it's not the same as seeing you face to face.
Always. So everyone, please take advantage of Minette's amazing offer. Wow, that is incredible that you get all of that for free. And take advantage of getting to know her. Reach out to her, say hello, follow her on Facebook.
I'm really friendly.
Yeah, I know. We all are. You know, I have two rules. You have to be nice and no perfect people. So, you know, the people that I put around me, it's safe to reach out to say hello to. So make sure you come and listen to our next program. We've got another amazing guest coming up. And I'm really excited that you were here today. Please look up at the Public Speakers with an S Association.com, and we'll have information about the conference coming up in June. And then follow me on all my social media platforms as Tonya, Tonya, Hofmann, 1F, 2N, so Frank, Nancy. My husband's family doesn't know how to spell their last name right. So, all right. Thank y'all for being on today. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.